Hello, good evening, everyone. How are you? It is time for Monday Night Live. Monday Night Live, and tonight we're talking about diamond rocks, diamond dust, and just here to remind you that we do have a deal on the whole Dylusions line. Brianna will be popping up a link. There you go. Hello, Brianna is here tonight. So she will pop up a link to tonight's demo deal. The deal runs all day today online, and then it runs all day tomorrow online and in store. And it's 25% off Dylusions. Brianna, can you just give me a confirmation? I meant to check that. I'm pretty sure it's 25%. Ah, perfect. 25% off all Dylusions, not just the diamond line. So that's fantastic. I have a lot to talk about. So we're just going to jump in. Now, we always do a giveaway on Monday Night Live. So we are giving away one of the Dylusions diamond dust, and this one is squeezed orange. So somebody is going to win this little pot of the diamond dust squeezed orange tonight. How do you win? Well, you just have to comment because we've got our giveaway tool running in the background. It's collecting your names from your comments. Before we go, Brianna will run that generator and it will bring up a name. We'll pop it up on screen, and that will be the winner of the Dylusions Diamond Dust Squeezed Orange. Okay, let's put that away. So as you can see, there is a lot in this. These are our diamond dust. I keep them in this sort of configuration. I don't put the lids back on. I will show you why these have that in there. If you watch any of Diane's videos in these, you will know exactly why she keeps them like this, but I'll be using them in these containers. We've got diamond rocks. Diamond rocks, this is like Udi from back in the day. It's a really thick, kind of granulated embossing powder, clear embossing powder. We'll be using that in a little bit. We've got all of Diane's fliffers, flaffers, floofers. Don't sneeze. Yes, you're right, Julie. Do not sneeze. I actually have the window open here. Hopefully a breeze doesn't come in because I will be in trouble. I also have her Dylusions Stickles and the Diamond Medium, which Diamond Medium you get in this applicator. And there's also the ink pad as well. Let's get started. Okay, we're going to start with the dust first. So let me bring out a few samples here of just some techniques I'm going to show you. So these were made over the weekend, late last week. Some were done today. But this is one I made. This was just me just having a play. And I'll go through how I created this one. This was created the exact same way. Look how gorgeous that is. Now, I did not seal these, okay? I did spray them with water to activate the binder, but even after the binder's been activated, and this has been dry for now, I don't know, 4 days, if I was to run my finger over it, it comes off. So in order to seal these and make sure they don't rub off, you have to spray them either with a fixative spray, or Diane also recommends using a really cheap hairspray, something you get at the dollar store. Now that works great on the black, but don't use the cheap hairspray on anything white or anything non-black because it will actually turn yellow, but you won't see that on the black paper. So these have not been sealed. I actually meant to go out and get a fixative this weekend and I completely forgot. So I just wanted to show that. These have been sprayed with water. So the binder was activated, but not sealed. And you can see it still rubs off, but it's extremely pretty. Okay, so let me just show you how I did these really quick. I'm just going to bring in some black paper. Now, you can do these techniques on white, and I am going to show you some of them on white. You can do them on white, but where they really shine is on the black paper. Okay, let me grab a stamp here. I'm going to use, this is, I know it's not Dylusions. I don't have any new Dylusions. I only have old ones, so I didn't want to use that tonight. So I'm going to use Bold Botanicals by Dina. Okay, yep, I did have one here. So we are going to use I've done so many classes with Diane using these. I've actually got like 3 or 4, and they're all in various states of being not great. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this. The Diamond Medium, this is like an embossing ink. It's a slow drying ink. So it's like an embossing ink. And I'm just going to come along. Perfect. I don't know if you can see that. You can see that ink on there, right? There you go. It's almost like a watermark ink. So what I'm going to do, and I honestly, I can't remember what a fliffer and a flaffer is. I don't remember. One of each. So you can buy these. These two come together. One is your fine detail and the other is the fluffy one. I'm just going to grab a couple of colors here. And if you have any questions, yes, you can use other embossing powders. And if you've got an embossing powder already, you can use it with these. Now, what the dusts are like, and for those of you who have been crafting for any amount of time, you probably remember Perfect Pearls. These are just like Perfect Pearls. Perfect Pearls were also produced by Ranger. Ranger produces these products as well. These are just like Perfect Pearls. The only reason they're different is they're in Diane's colors. That's the only thing that makes them different, is they're a Diane product. They're with her name on it. There you go. So you can see I just tapped those on. They're really messy. I'm going to turn away from the screen. I'm just going to blow off that excess. Versamark woodwork, yes. Okay, so I'm going to come in. I'm going to pounce now on these because I want to make sure that it is stuck to that ink. And now I'm just going to gently brush away any excess. And look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh my word. So pretty. So pretty. Let's do another one. We'll do some other colors. Now, before I bring these to the store, these samples to the store, I will set them with either some fixative or some cheap hairspray. Let's do green on this one. And I'm just lightly dabbing that on there. Not very hard at all. Let's do this one. So all I'm using right now is the Diamond Medium pad. And, you know, Diane never uses an anti-static tool or an anti-static pouch. I don't know if it would make much of a difference. Okay, I'm going to turn away, blow off the excess. There we go. Pounce that on there, make sure it's all stuck in that Diamond Medium. And come and just sweep off. Now, when I say to sweep it off, I am barely touching. I'm holding this at the end and I am just barely touching the paper, because if you were to press hard, you are going to wipe these off. So you're just gently wiping those off. So these have a built-in binder in them, this mica dust. It has a built-in binder. Now, to activate the binder, you have to spray them. So I'm just going to move these off to the side so I don't actually spray them again. So I'm just going to take just some water in my spray bottle. And I just sprayed them. That is activating that binder. I'm going to set this aside. That was probably too much water, but I'm going to set this aside and we're going to come back. Now you can use a heat tool to do it. You can use a heat tool to dry it, but we're going to move on. So I'm just going to set this aside and we'll come back. Okay, so that's one way to use them. Really fun, easy way with your stamps and with the dust and with your brushes. Let me just wipe that off. Okay. That is fun. So that is stamping. Now we're going to do it with a stencil. How to use a stencil? Well, I'm going to show you. Let me just put my stamp set away. I'm going to use a Tracy Scott stencil. Now, this works really well in these open kind of spaces. Okay. So that's what I did with this one here. So this is one of the ones where I came in and I was wiping it. And yeah, you can tell it comes off. Yeah. The water does make the colors get a lot brighter. When it dries, it's going to kind of go back to what it was, but because it's wet, it looks really shiny. Okay, let me bring this in. So I'm going to use the pad. Now you could use this, but I find this gets a little goopy. So I'm going to use this. Now you could use a blending tool. I'm just going to go along and just press my pad in there. Just kind of press and twist really gently. I'm not going to do it too hard. Like I said, you could use a blending foam. And if you wanted to do a blending foam, you could do like individual pieces, like if you wanted to do some really different colors. Let's close that up. Lift that up so you can see that ink on there. There you go. So I could do like I did on the stamps where I'm doing like really big areas. But if I wanted to do something maybe a little bit more precise, I could come in with the smaller brush, pick up a little bit, and I could come in and maybe do individual leaves. So you don't have to do it, just willy-nilly all over the place. You can come in and do a little bit more specific. Let me come in with this light blue. So the smaller brush does give you an opportunity to do a little bit more precise placement of the dust. There we go. And let's do in the center. What is this color? I can never remember this color. Oh, squeezed orange. That's the one we're giving away. So there we go. So I'm going to leave that for right now. Let's come over to the bigger one. I'm going to go back to this brush, and that way I can do some bigger areas quicker. There we go. Let's use this light blue, same as the first flower we did. This is the diamond dust. And I know on my thing I said I was using, oh, that was a lot. I'm going to pick that up and move that over here. I was looking at the screen when I picked that up, so I wasn't paying attention to how much I was grabbing. I'm just going to keep going back there. Yes, these are the diamond dust, which after I posted my photo, I'm like, oh, I called that a powder. It is called the diamond dust, and it is a mica powder. It is just like Perfect Pearls. So if you remember back in the day, Perfect Pearls, these are exactly like those. Those were produced by Ranger. These are produced by Ranger as well. There we go. So I'm just going to turn away from the camera, blow off the excess. Come back in with that brush, and I'm just going to pounce that color in to make sure it's really stuck good on that diamond medium. There we go. Now there is a bigger brush. This one was released earlier this year. So if you're doing bigger areas, it just kind of gives you, it's a little bit quicker. So I'm just going in and just gently swiping away any of that excess dust. And there you can see that. Now again, if you want to activate those binders, you do need to spray it with water. There we go, a light mist of water. And there you go. It is a very slow drying ink. So it is like an embossing ink. So an embossing ink technically never dries unless you put a powder on it. If you've ever used Versamark, that will stay wet for a long time. It does eventually dry, but you've got a long time, like hours, if not 24 to 48 hours. So you've got a long time to use that. So this is the one I did earlier. That one's been sprayed. I haven't sealed it. So like I said, if I run my finger over it, it's going to pick up some of that diamond dust. So I need to seal it with either a fixative or some cheap hairspray. Okay, I put that aside. We're going to let that dry. So that is using a stencil. I'm just going to quickly wipe this up because I don't want to forget that I have that diamond medium on there. But diamond medium is basically an embossing ink. It is a slow drying ink that stays sticky for a long time. And you can use it with embossing powders because her diamond rocks are basically embossing powders. Okay, something else fun. And this I'm going to show you on some white paper. Yes, you just spritz it with water. You can heat it with a heat tool. You can, just to make it quicker. But I'm just setting them aside over here in front of my window. And then when we're done, we'll come back. Okay, so these are some that I've done with painting. Okay, these were all painted. So look at this one. That's that Bold Botanicals. Isn't that fun? I'm probably going to cut these out and put them in my art journal. What fixative would be good? Any sort of fixative. You want it to dry clear. You want it to dry matte. And it would be a fixative that you'd use with like chalk, a chalk fixative. Yeah. So, and there is a brand, and I thought I had, I thought I had one, but I don't. But yeah, you're looking for a chalk fixative. Now, Diane says that she just used cheap hairspray. Don't use, yeah, Krylon. Thank you, Kelly. The name was escaping me. Krylon has one. Yeah. She uses cheap dollar store spray, hairspray. Don't use the expensive stuff because the expensive stuff has preservatives in it, and that is what will turn yellow. So the hairspray works really good on dark paper, but you wouldn't use the hairspray on the white because it will just turn it yellow. Now I have a sample here. Let me see. I did a class with Diane in Seattle, and this one we used a fixative. So if I go on here, nothing's going to come off because we did a fixative on this one. And it was great that we did it because if I would have put this in my suitcase, all of that would have gone off. But this has been done with a fixative. So that was kind of cool. Okay, so that same stencil that I used, this one here, the Tracy Scott one, I put on these two pieces of paper and I just traced them with, this one I traced with a white thin line Posca, and this one I just traced with a black pen. Because I am going to go over them again. You can see how this one I did go over with a white Posca, but you can create watercolors. Now, if I bring these back in, so the lid, no, you can't add them to water and make a spray. And the reason why you can't is the mica will clog your sprayer. And that will, yes, just a spray of hairspray, but the cheap kind, Kim. Sorry, what was that question again? No, you can't put them in a sprayer because the mica will clog the sprayer. And that was directly from Diane because she says she tried it and it clogged all her sprayers. So don't do that. Okay, so I'm just going to get out a few lids here. So you can see this one. I had that color in there. I believe it was this color here. And now it's dried off. So now it's a little bit flaky. So you can see that. Oh, sorry. It's a little bit flaky. Still good. I'm just going to add some water to it. So I added some water to that lid. Where'd my brush go? And now I'm just going to give that a stir. And now it has turned back into a paint. So, which is absolutely fabulous. I love that. So then you can come in and paint with it. And look at how shimmery that is. That is gorgeous. So yeah, you can just put a little bit of the dust in the lid, spray it with water, and then when you're done, if you have any excess, just let it dry. It dries solid. Add water back to it, and you will have watercolor again. There you go. Isn't that gorgeous? So cool. I'm going to add a little bit of water to this one. There we go. Clean off my brush. Again, it was all dried in there. I'm going to add a little bit of water, and I think I added a little bit too much water. So I'm just going to come in with one of my brushes, dip it in the dry powder, and just tap it off into that lid until I get a good mixture. So I just added a little bit more in there, and that looks good. So then again, I can just come in and add that in there. There you go. I'm going to put a little bit on here. I'm going to add that color, and I'm actually going to put them side by side, wet into wet, just to kind of give me something different. So yeah, you can mix them. Look at how cool that is. Now, again, I could take my heat tool to this, could dry it, but I'm going to set this aside and we will let it dry naturally. And then after I was done with this, what I would do is I would probably come in and, or not probably, I would come in and trace around those with a white gel pen and just, not a white gel pen, a white Posca. Now I'm going to, just before we move on, don't have much in there. Let's tap that in. And a little bit of water. Does not take a whole heck of a lot of water. And you just want to stir it until you don't see any kind of lumps in there, any of the dust. So yes, you can make these into paints and they're stunning. Oops, coloring outside the line. But look at how fun that is. With the paint, do you need to add the fixative? Yeah, that's one thing I didn't check. No, you don't. It does not come off if you're doing it as a watercolor. And I think because you're adding so much water, your water to dust is so high that when it dries, it becomes permanent. The other one, because it's on an ink, just makes it a little bit more movable unless you do the fixative. But how cool is that? And I love how you can let it dry. And like I said, this is all that is all now just little flakes of the diamond dust that I let dry. I can add a little bit of water. Come in with my brush, and now it has gone to liquefied form, and now I can use it as a color. This also works great for splatter if you wanted to splatter these and get a little bit of shimmer. Works great as splatter. but how fun is that as a paint? Love it. So that's what it looks like on black. You can see that you get this wonderful shimmer on there. And then on white, it's a little bit different. It doesn't pop as much, but you can see that you still get a really pretty shimmer. Now, I haven't gone back and traced over any of these yet, but I would definitely go in with a black Posca or maybe even a pink Posca on some of these and trace around where I have that black line just to kind of cover it up and finish up those edges a little bit. But you can just see how gorgeous this is. Now, I have to say, I like the colors of these watercolors better on the black than I do on the white. They're just so much richer. And I don't know, I just love it so much more. Let me just bring that back in. So these are the same color, and you can see the difference. Like this one is a bit more pastel or softer, where these are just brighter and more vibrant. So that's why I like using them on black more than on white, but they do look gorgeous on white. I just like the black better. Okay, let me dry that off. Okay, I'm just going to put these back. Just give me a moment to put these back in. There we go. Clean up my excess here. Now, something else that is in the diamond line, I'm going to come back to the dust. Don't worry. We're going to come back to the dust in just a minute. But we're going to start talking about the diamond boards. I don't have any in packages, but these are diamond boards. They are a chipboard. They are gessoed on one side. Yes, they are good at. And do you believe I have no craft paper? I was actually looking for craft paper earlier, but they do look really good on craft as well. They would look good on really any color, but on the black and white, that's where you see kind of the differences on them, but you could use them on any color. So diamond boards. Now, I don't have all the diamond boards. I've got the square, I've got the octagonal, I've got these little rectangle ones, and then there's different shapes as well. I believe there's tags. Well, I know there's tags because I have them on that sample there, but the diamond board's also 33% off. So I'm just going to show you some samples on how to use the diamond boards with the diamond rocks and the diamond dust. We're just going to show you all the things. So let me move these aside. Let me bring in some samples that I made earlier. Okay. Sorry, I need to move some things out of the way. So here's a couple of square diamond boards. These I've just painted with some black paint, really lightly. It's not thick, just some light paint. And actually with these ones, I actually finger painted that black on there, put some black paint on my fingers, did the sides of them as well. I'm going to show you what you can do with those. And actually, here's a couple of samples that I did earlier. I'm going to show you how I did these. You can stamp in. Oh, I'm going to show you that because that's fun. Okay, but let's start with these. Let's just start with some simple things that you can do with the diamond boards. Let me move some of these away here. Oh, these go with the same one. Okay, so this is one of the diamond boards, and all I did was I stamped on it. That's just a stamp, stamped it on black, and you can see that. Now the stamping is not perfect. These boards do have a bit of a texture to them. They are not flat. They do have a bit of texture, so when you're stamping on them, you could get some of, you can see some of the white showing through, but it just really just looks like texture, okay? Now, these ones, I decided to do something a little different. So these ones I actually put in my Misty, and I put them in like this, how I wanted them, because this is eventually going to go into my art journal. When I put them in my art journal, I am going to pull them apart slightly, but I put them in my Misty, and then I stamped on it. stamped on all of them at the same time. And this is one of the Dina Wakley stamps from, oh, I believe this is the one we're sold out of. I had Brianna check for me, and I don't remember the name of that one because I put it aside so I wouldn't use it. Healing and Light. This is from Healing and Light. Okay, so these have been stamped with archival ink. Archival ink, that's very important. You don't want to stamp it with a dye ink that is movable by water, because we're going to be putting some of that diamond medium on, and I'm going to show you how I did this with 2 colors of the diamond rocks. Just going to do one. So you don't just have to do one. You can put a bunch of pieces together, stamp on them, and then use them in an art journal. You can use them on the front of a card. You can use them on the front of your journal. I'm going to show you right now, Jackie, what that is on that. So I'm doing exactly what I did on here. I'm going to do on this one. Okay. So I am taking the diamond medium like this, the one that has the sponge top. You don't want to drag this because you will rip this. How do I know that? Because I've done that. So you are just going to dab, 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 dab. There we go. I'm going to put it in its lid because I'm going to do this a few times on a few different techniques. So I'm actually going to put this upside down. So all of that diamond medium will be down here where that sponge is. I need to grab a piece of paper. So just like you would do, with embossing powder, you want to get a piece of paper. I am going to take 2 of the diamond rocks. I'm going to take Island Parrot, which is that beautiful green, and I'm going to use the clear diamond rocks. Okay, those are the 2 I'm going to use. Now, the reason why I'm going to use both of them is because this is a botanical, I wanted to have some green on there. Now, if I was to do the 3 layers of the diamond rocks, which really gives you that finished look, you can see how opaque it goes. The first layer very translucent, and then the more layers you do of a colored diamond rock, the more opaque it goes. So you can see, you can hardly see any of that stamping. But if I do my first layer with my color and then my next 2 layers with the clear, it leaves me with the green, but I can still see the stamping. Okay, so I could go on completely clear and get something like this, but I wanted to have a little bit of color. Okay, so I've put my diamond medium on there. I'm going to dump that on there. I am going to grab something to lift this up so I can grab it by the edge. Light tap. I can already see I've missed quite a bit on there, but that's all right because you know what? We're just going to roll with it. I'm going to dump that back in there. There we go. And let's give it a heat. Okay, so I'm going to hold this up. Hey, Suzanne. Now you can see my ink didn't go on there very good. I'm going to put this one aside. I'm going to let it cool down. I'm going to grab the other one. Let's grab this one. Now I'm going to make sure, I'm going to show you what you're going to do. Now, if you're stamping on a diamond board, you do need to heat set your archival ink or let it cure for a little bit. I stamped these earlier today, so I know they're dry. I know they're set. Because if you do this too quick, if you put this medium on some freshly stamped ink, it could shift the ink, even though it's archival. Okay, now before I dump on my powder, I am going to lift this up, which I didn't do the first time. And I'm going to make sure that's all shiny and that I didn't miss any spots like I did the first time. Okay, there, that looks good. Lift that up, gentle tap. Yes, I got much better coverage on that one. Dump that back in there. Could you paint the medium on for better coverage? You could. You just have to paint it on thin enough. Don't paint it on too thick. Okay, there we go. Now I want, how is this different? These are thicker. These are a thick embossing powder. Thick, chunky, just a thick embossing powder, like a Udi. Yeah. Okay, so I've heated that. Now I want to go in and I want to add the clear diamond rocks. Before I do that, I want to heat this up so this is hot, and then I can dump on the clear and it's going to stick to the hot embossing powder and diamond rocks that I put on there, and then I can heat it again. So I'm going to come back with my heat tool. Just going to give that a heat. Come in really quickly. So it's important to have the lid off. There we go. I can see a part of that I didn't heat, but we're going to do 2 layers. So all is not lost. Okay, so I've heated that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over it again with my heat, make sure it's all liquid, or not liquid, but hot. And I'm going to dump on my last and third layer of the clear. Make sure your heat tool is turned off before you dump that powder on, because if you try and dump while your heat tool is still going, it's just going to blow that powder all over the place. Okay, now this is the last one. I'm going to take it off the paper and we're going to give this one final heat. So because this is the last one, yes, if I could have done 2 layers of the green. I did try that earlier. This is 3 layers. No clear. This was 1 layer with 2 layers of clear, exactly how I did here. The second layer of clear I did here did go quite a bit more opaque, did cover up the stamping a little bit more than I liked. So that's when I came over to this one and just did 1. But again, it depends on your stamping. It depends on the opaqueness or the translucentness that you want. I'm just letting this cool down a bit because it will be super hot and you don't want to burn yourself. And then I hope it picks it up. The green in there looks amazing. Like it's just, let's see if I stop moving, if it'll focus on there. It just looks so nice, because the green has that mica in it. So it's kind of got like these veins of green in them. They're absolutely stunning. So then once I'm done, oops, we're going to ignore this ugly one for the moment. But once all these pieces are done, then these will go into my art journal. So you can see when I put them together, I get the full image, which is really kind of cool. Great base to put sentiment on and stuff. Lovely. That is still slightly hot. Oh, maybe if I turn it this way. I don't know if it's showing up on screen, but man, that green in there, stunning. Okay, so that's one way to use it. Now, another way to use these, and I made these earlier, these are also going to go into my art journal, is I used collage paper. I didn't have any, I didn't have any, I couldn't find any gel prints. I know I have them around here somewhere, but I had some collage paper, some Art by Marlene collage paper, and I put them on here. Look at how cute those are. They're like little tiles. So fun. I had some paper, some old paper that I put on here. And then this is the printed tissue from Paper Artsy. So how do you put that on? Well, pretty easy. Hang on, let me grab some printed tissue here. What do I have? So I'm going to show you what you can do with these. Got some diamond rocks on there. Let's grab one of these and let's grab a glue stick. Okay, so here's a glue stick. So I'm using the Dylusions glue stick. You don't want to use white glue because it will burn. So the glue stick works perfectly well because you get a really nice thin layer of glue. So I'm going to, let's just put these words on here. Let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to press that into that glue. And then the easy way to trim this off is with a straight blade. So I'm just going to come in, cut around that edge. And cut that away. And there you go, it perfectly fits. Any glue stick will work. Now, I just did that, my edges are pretty good, but to try and seal that edge, I'm going to come in with a sanding block. This is the Paper Artsy sanding block. I'm just going to come in and just clean up those edges. And this also helps seal those edges to that diamond board. So I'm just going to come in with my sanding block. Doesn't take a whole lot. Just going to clean up those edges. And now that is good to go. Now I'm not going to use this one because that glue under there is not dry. It's not cured yet. So if I was to go in and heat this, it's just going to bubble up on me and it's going to ruin it. So I'm going to use this one because I did this one earlier today and I know that glue is dry. Paper. So again, what you're going to do is you're just going to come in with your diamond medium. And you're just going to cover that entire thing. So really easy. You can make a whole bunch of tiles. These would look great on the front of a card. It would look amazing. There you go. I'm just going to come in with the clear. 3 layers of the diamond rocks are really what give you that nice coverage. I've done as much as 2 and I've done up to 4. So I've done as few as 2 and as much as 4. But 3 is kind of that sweet spot where you get kind of that perfect coverage. Sorry, got too much on here. There we go. Okay, got some good coverage on there. Now remember, when you're going in to add your next layer of the diamond rocks, you do want to make sure that that first layer is hot so that when you pour this on, it has something to stick to. Give it a tap to tap off that excess. Another heat. So this one with 2 layers, it looks pretty good. Those 2 layers look really good. I've got good coverage from side to side. Top and bottom looks amazing. I could stop there, but let's do one more. Tap, tap, tap. And there you go. Hot. Ooh. So that is that 3rd layer. So it does give it a glossy tile effect. Now with the 3 layers, it's probably hard to see, but it's so thick, it gives it almost like a rounded edge, which does give it that tile effect. That is super hot. So here's one that I did earlier over top of the it's actually, I actually find it easier to get coverage with the glue. Now, the first time I did it, this had been sitting like this for several hours, and now I'm letting it sit like here. So now my diamond medium is right there. So you get better coverage while you're using it if you put your diamond medium on your work surface upside down. So then all of that medium is already primed and in your foam there. So the first time I did it, I wasn't smart enough to do that before I went live. So that's why it wasn't that good. Now I'm getting great coverage. So this was old book paper that I put on there. Look how fun that is. That is fun. And then here is the collage paper. I put some collage paper on there, cut off the excess, and then just for fun, and I'm so glad I did this earlier, I took some of the Dylusion stickles and I put some stickles on this one as well. So the stickles dry perfectly clear and all you see is this gorgeous glitter in there. Isn't that gorgeous? I did this one earlier. Yes, you could do that. And I'm actually going to show you something like that, Kim, in my next one. Yeah. So the thing is, if you're going to do this, you just need to let it sit aside and let it dry because the stickles do take a little while to dry. You don't want to take your heat tool to them because they're just going to like bubble and get all misshapen. Unless that's the look you're going for, then you go right ahead. So there you go. So you can see this is what that paper looked like before, and then this is what it looks like once you put that on there. Yeah. So pretty. Oh my word. Okay, now let's do something even more fun. And that is, see, this is already cooled down. It doesn't stay hot for very long, but you want to be careful. You don't want to touch it right away. Okay, these 2 here. So this started off as one of the diamond boards that I painted black. I'm going to show you how I did this one. And then we stamped into the hot UD. And then we put some of the dust on top. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to build up layers of the dust between layers of the diamond rock. And you get almost like a galaxy look. It's hard to see, but let's just do it. I'm just going to show you how you do this. Let's just do that. Okay, let's start with this one. I'm going to take my diamond medium. I am going to put a layer on here. There we go. Not going to do that one. We're going to do that one second. Okay, so you can see I've got all of that diamond medium all over my black diamond board. There we go. I'm going to come back to one of the brushes here, and let's pick up some of the diamond dust. Here we go, diamond dust. I did purples and blues on this one. Let's do Postbox red. So I'm just going to come in and I am just going to add some Postbox red on there. Let's pick up some this color. That looks gorgeous. And let's do London blue. There we go. Okay, let me blow off the excess. Perfect. Come in, pounce on there, make sure it's all into that diamond medium that we put on there. And then we are going to gently brush away any excess that's sitting on top and not stuck to any ink. Whoop. Nope, the stickles were on top, very last. The stickles I did right at the end. This is actually, this container you're wondering, I actually got it out of one of my Totally Tiffany ones that it had the 4 drawers in it, but I used it for my Better Press and my Better Press inks. So my Better Press slides into one side, so I didn't need these two. So they've just been sitting on my shelf waiting for something to be used, and that's what I use them for. Okay, so there we go. Now we need to activate the binder. Activate the binder. So we're going to spray it with a little bit of water. Okay. Now I'm going to dry it with my heat tool. Now, I have a heat tool that is really powerful. If you've got the Ranger heated tool, you can get a lot closer for a lot longer time. Mine's super powerful, so I need to move quickly and keep my heat tool probably about 3 or 4 inches away. If you're using the Ranger, you can get a lot closer and move a lot slower. But because I'm using my Wagner, and it gets super hot. So, okay, perfect. So that is now dry. And now I can come in with my dabber. Okay, so I should have had paper under there. There we go. So I've got that covered in ink. And now I'm going to dump my clear diamond rocks on there. Give that a tap, knock off any of that excess, dump this back in my pot. There we go. Give this a heat. Oh my word, look at this. This is just one layer of the diamond rock clear. Look how gorgeous that is. So while this is slightly warm, not molten hot or anything, I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab, that is way too much. I'm going to come in with a bit of dust on there. I think that's still too much. There we go. And I am just going to drop some on that. There we go. Let's drop maybe a little bit of pink. All right. Let me blow off that excess. There we go. Blew off that excess. Now, what are we going to do? Oh. Dump that off. Now remember, before we put on this, we have to heat this, right? Okay. We'll put that back in there. Cover that up. So let's give this a heat. And now we're going to do a layer. So we've done the diamond powders on the board, on the black. We've covered it with the clear, heated it, put more mica on top and heated it again, and then put more of the diamond rocks on. Okay, so now I have, this is so pretty. I'm gonna have to lower my camera so you can see it. Look at how gorgeous that is. So I have got a layer of the mica suspended between two layers, of the diamond rock. Look how gorgeous that is. It almost gives you like a Milky Way, or, I mean, it's just so gorgeous. Now I could do another layer because so far I've only done 2 layers. So let's do, I've only done 2 layers. Yes, I've only done 2. So let's do another color. I'm just going to heat this up a bit. Let me get the smaller brush and let's do this light blue. Just going to tap this on. Instead of like pressing it right on there, I'm just going to tap this so I can get kind of, there we go. Let me blow off that excess. Now, before I do another layer of this, need to heat this layer up, right? Tap, tap, tap. Okay. So last layer on this one, and then I'm going to show you how to stamp into it. Yes, you can definitely overheat it. And when you overheat it, it will actually go cloudy. Yeah. So you can see that just that tapping of that little blue on there. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So it's probably hard to see on camera, but when I'm looking at it, you can actually see all 3 layers of those powders. The one on the bottom, we've done this one. What was that one? I can never remember that name. What's that one? Oh, here it is. It's probably Squeeze Lemonade, the one I can't. Yeah, it is Squeeze Lemonade. And then this light blue one is Calypso Teal, that one right on top. Isn't that gorgeous? Stunning. Oh my gosh. So this one, I just suspended 1 layer And the one on the right, I suspended 2 layers. So you can get some really amazing effects, like stunning effects. Okay, I've got one more thing to show you, and that is this one here. So I'm basically going to do the very first steps that I did on the other one. We're going to do some micas on the black. We're going to do 2 layers, and then we're going to stamp into it and then add another layer of the powders. Isn't that fun? Now, before I do that, let me put this on here. I'm going to get a stamp. Let me grab a stamp. I'm going to put that on my stamp block here. I am using Vintage Moon Faces to stamp in it. That's this one, Vintage Moon Faces. Okay, so again, we're going to take our diamond medium, get a nice thin layer on there. Really easy to see where that diamond medium is on there when it's on the black. Perfect. I am going to grab one of the brushes and let's do, what is this one? This one's pretty, Cherry Pie. Okay. Do Cherry Pie. There we go. Let's do squeezed orange. Squeezed orange is orange, but it has almost like a goldy bronze kind of color to it. It's so pretty. Okay, there we go. And let's come in, let's do this light blue. Cutting off some of that excess. Okay, blow off the excess. Come in with the brush and just brush off any excess that isn't stuck to the diamond medium. Perfect. Get that out of the way. Need to get my paper out of the way. We need to give it a spritz of water. There we go. Activating those binders in the, wow, look at that. Magicals are different. Magicals don't have a binder in them. I mean, I'm not saying you can't try it. You can certainly try it. Now, if you have perfect pearls, which I still have a dozen of them, you can try perfect pearls. Yeah. Now, I will say this. If I was doing this, I probably wouldn't be using my heat tool. I would let it dry naturally, because heating it, what is happening is this on the back, in the thicker areas, this is making it bubble, which is not a big deal because we are going to be covering it with the diamond rocks, but just so you know, that will happen. Okay, so if I was getting out my diamond rocks, my diamond dust, I would probably do quite a few of these. I wouldn't just get it out and do like one. I would probably do a whole bunch and then just keep them in a container so they're readily available. Okay, I'm going to take my diamond medium. We're going to tap that on there. And I forgot to grab my paper again. Excuse me, just need to get a drink of water. There we go. Ooh. we go. We're going to go in with our clear. Tap off the excess. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Look at how pretty that one is. Gorgeous. I love those colors. Okay. Yes, diamond medium is like an embossing ink. Yes, exactly. Okay, I'm not using the embossing ink. I'm going to heat this up again so it's nice and hot. We're going to do 2 more layers of this, and then we're going to stamp into it. Tap. Deposit our excess back into the jar. There we go. Heat again. Okay, so we're going to do 1 more layer. These are the Dylusions brushes. They come in 2 packs. 1 pack is this, and then 1 pack is this one, but I can't find my other one. I don't know where it is, but they're the Dylusions brushes, and they're meant to use with the dust. Okay, so before I do my 3rd and last layer, what I want to do is I want to get my stamp ready. This is my stamp, and I want to stamp it with diamond medium. So the diamond medium is going to protect the stamp from the hot diamond rocks. So it's really important that you put your diamond medium on your stamp so that you're ready to stamp into the hot diamond medium. Perfect, there we go. Okay, so my stamp is ready. I'm going to come in, I'm going to heat this up, and we're going to dump on our final layer. It's important to do 3 layers of this because that gives you enough dimension to stamp into to get a really good result. Okay, heat it up. I've got my stamp ready to stamp into it. Okay, so here is my stamp with my diamond medium on it, and I'm going to come in and put that down. Now you don't want to come in and squish it, okay? Because that diamond, the diamond rocks are soft, and if you do that, it's just going to make that kind of spread out and ooze out. So you don't want to press it too hard. Okay. And there you can see that face in there. Now, if you go to stamp it, if you stamp it and it doesn't look good and you don't like it, just reheat this. That will go completely flat again, and then you can try it again. So if you don't get it the first time, do not worry. Okay, so remember we use diamond medium on the stamp. Yes, it is best to use a rubber stamp because of the heat. A white acrylic stamp, you'll probably ruin it. Okay, so we use diamond medium. So I've got diamond medium on there now. So guess what I can do? I can put, yeah, I can now come in and I can paint the diamond dust in that area that I just stamped, and I'm using the detail brush. And I'm tipping it just so that in the light I can see where that image is. When it's flat, it's a little bit harder to see with the glare. So I'm just adding that in there. Have I got everything? Looks like it. Okay, let me blow off the excess. Now I'm just going to come in with this other brush and just sweep away any excess that isn't stuck to any of that diamond medium. And there you go. Isn't that fun? And now I've got two because I did another of the moon faces in there. Isn't that fun? I love that. It's just so much fun because the color combinations of all of the diamond dust, and I'm pretty sure I have all of them. Pretty sure, I'm not sure. But the different color combinations that you can get are absolutely stunning. And I only used one color of the diamond rocks, but there are so many gorgeous ones. This is one of the newer ones that was released earlier this year. And I'm just going to grab my board here. So this one is Sapphire. And that, I believe, is this one here. They're just so gorgeous. Does this need sealing now? It probably does. What I'm probably going to do is spray it with water and let it sit. I'm not sure about this. Now, this one I did earlier. It does rub off, but actually, you know what? I like it better when I rub it off because it comes off the top. Look at it. It actually looks better. But yeah, what I would probably do is spray this with water, let it air dry, and then it'll probably be sealed. Might need to spray it with hairspray, but yeah. You mean doing this technique, Pat? Um, you can try it. The why the boards work so well is because they're a heavy material. If you were to try this on the mixed media paper in the journal, you might get some rippling from the heat and from this drying. It might ripple. That's the only thing I can think of. I actually haven't done it myself. I've done these and put these in my journal, and I know Diane takes these and she will put these on the front of her journals. But all you can do is try. Yeah, it works really good on the boards just because they're a bit thicker and they can take the heat. Excuse me. But you can just try. Yeah, but I think you're going to get some rippling. Yeah, the only other thing I could suggest if you wanted to do it in a journal is maybe if you've got two journal pages that are glued together, but then you've got the glue in between and you're adding heat and I don't know, that could cause some other burning issues. That's the only other thing that I could see being an issue. But yeah, but this would work if you've got chipboard. It doesn't have to be the boards because this is just chipboard that basically has been gessoed and sealed on one side. Sorry, got a tickle in my throat. But if you've got chipboard words, chipboard tag, as long as you put gesso on one side, you're good to go. You don't have to use the boards. You could use any gesso or any chipboard as long as you put gesso and protect it on one side. So yeah, there you go. Okay, so let me bring in Brianna. If you want to bring up our giveaway tool, I'm just going to bring back in some of the samples that I made here. Here is that, look at that first one. Okay, Brianna's going to run the giveaway tool, and somebody is going to win. And now I set it aside, so I didn't So I didn't use it. And somebody is going to win. Oh, here it is. Somebody is going to win. No, the Paper and Ink Boutique can't win. That's not fair. Somebody is going to win the Dylusions Diamond Dust. Suzanne White, you're our winner. We will get this out to you ASAP. There you go. Congratulations, Suzanne. You are Monday Night Live winner. Congratulations. Okay, so I'm just going to show, these are the ones that I used here at the beginning. Nope, that's wrong. This one. There you go. This was the one. Remember, we stamped it. We added the dust. We sprayed it with water. Look how cute those are. I let that one air dry. This is the one through the stencil. Sprayed it with water. Let it dry. Look how gorgeous. That is going to make a spectacular card background as soon as I get that sealed. Do I have anything else? Nope, I guess not. The only other ones we did was these and our boards. So if you're looking for more information, I touched on a lot of the things that Diane also touches on her Diamond series on her YouTube channel, but she's got 8 episodes on a playlist on her YouTube channel, and you can check those out here. Remember, our sale is on for the rest of today online, and then in store and online tomorrow. Online until 11:59 p.m. and until 4 p.m. in store tomorrow. Take advantage of that Dylusion sale. It includes the diamond rocks, the diamond powders, the stamps, the stencils, everything Dylusions you can get on that sale. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Take care.